Last night, she abruptly resigned as the host of the show. And to say that I'm quite sad about it is an understatement.
No one anticipated it. Like any other morning, Molly Qerim had just hosted First Take. Lucid, composed, and in control. Her surprising departure lit up Instagram hours later. Then Stephen A. Smith, who is often outspoken and unflappable, broke character with remarks that surprised supporters. Let's get started. The shocking revelation that rocked ESPN. The adored host Molly Qerim, who had served as the anchor of ESPN's First Take for 10 years, makes a shocking revelation that will shake the sports broadcasting industry as a whole. Qerim wrote words that seemed both appreciative and surprisingly abrupt, gracious, and final, in a meticulously planned Instagram story that would be screenshotted and shared thousands of times over the course of the following day. Longtime observers could sense the emotional weight of her message, which was straightforward, emotive, and explicit in every word. She wrote about the best fans in the world who had welcomed her into their homes every morning for 10 years in a row, about concluding an amazing chapter, and about the honor of sharing a desk with brilliant voices. This is where things start to get interesting, though, as the story thickens in ways that will likely dominate discussions in the sports media for weeks to come. Qerim acknowledged in her post that the announcement came out earlier than I intended, indicating that someone had acted too quickly and that her carefully planned exit was now degenerating into something messier and more public than she had ever anticipated. And she was entirely correct. The Sports Business Journal broke the news that the long-standing First Take host will be leaving the network at the end of 2025, with insider knowledge, just hours before Qerim could control her own story. What could have been a disgraceful planned exit had been accelerated by the scoop, which made everyone involved feel hurried, reactive, and, to be honest, uneasy. For fans who had just witnessed Qerim mediate another intense episode that morning, the timing couldn't have been more startling. She was doing what she had done so well for thousands of episodes, controlling Stephen A. Smith, promoting heated arguments between fervent voices, introducing commercial breaks with polished professionalism, and somehow making it all seem effortless. No one who watched that Monday morning broadcast could have imagined that she would be announcing her departure from the program that had shaped her career and established her as a household brand in the sports media in a matter of hours. Burke Magnus, the president of content at ESPN, swiftly released his own statement, which hit all the necessary corporate notes, but said nothing at all about the drama that was simmering beneath the surface. He highlighted Qerim's role as the catalyst for First Take's historic success since taking over hosting responsibilities in 2015, praised her contributions since joining the network back in 2006, and used words like professionalism, poise, and skill with a kind of careful precision that suggested there was much more to this story than anyone was willing to discuss in public. As millions of First Take viewers turned in the following morning, anticipating their typical dose of sports discussion drama, they were treated to something very different, something startlingly sensitive and considerably more emotionally raw. Longtime observers had rarely, if ever, seen the usually boisterous commentator appear so frightened as Stephen A. Smith sat by himself at the desk where Qerim should have been.
She's hosted First Take for 10 years and elevated the show with her grace, her expertise, incomparable kindness. She's been an enormous part of our success for a decade. Not only did she keep me and many others in line, she did it with dignity, class, and kindness, to say the least.
Through their screens, millions of people felt the weight of the words hanging in the air. The Stephen A. Smith who rants over football draft selections and basketball transactions wasn't this one. This wasn't the over-the-top personality that makes every sporting argument into a must-watch TV show. This was a very different situation. A man who was actually dealing with the breakup of a 10-year professional partnership. He had referred to a co-host as his work wife. Someone who had supported him during the show's explosive growth to become ESPN's premier morning show on several occasions. However, Smith's tribute on television was only the start. Later that day, Smith would delve even further on his SiriusXM radio show, where he has greater freedom to express himself without ESPN's corporate filters covering every word, revealing details that gave a much more nuanced picture of what had transpired behind the scenes.
Molly announced last night she will be departing from ESPN.
To those paying close attention, the word suddenly stood out. This change wasn't anticipated. It wasn't until December that they were ironing out their contract and riding off into a well-planned sunset. The abrupt breakup of a professional partnership that had significantly shaped both of their careers took effect right away. Smith went on to say something that can only be characterized as meticulously calibrated honesty, the kind of statement that, although technically saying nothing at all, conveys everything. He acknowledged that he was taken aback by Qerim's decision to leave the show they had co-created into a ratings powerhouse that consistently drew in over 500,000 viewers every morning, and that he had not seen this happening. It would be an understatement to say that I'm really depressed about it, Smith admitted to his radio listeners. Sports fans aren't used to hearing the normally vivacious personalities' voice carry such a weight. Throughout their 10 years together, he referred to Qerim as a friend, a colleague, and someone he had relied on innumerable times. Someone who, in the high-stress environment of daily live television, had relied on him in return during trying times. However, the most intriguing element of Smith's remarks, the one that would spark conjecture and conspiracy theories on social media for weeks to come, came after. Smith hinted to the circumstances underlying Qerim's resignation without providing specifics, presenting a picture of contract negotiations that had reportedly gone awry in ways that left all parties disillusioned and frustrated.
We'll miss her and wish her every blessing on her future. I personally am grateful to her for her friendship.
A discussion for a contract was underway. Smith stated that ESPN most definitely did not want to lose her, confirming what industry insiders had been speculating about for months. The network attempted to retain one of their most valuable on-air talent by making offers. However, the numbers eventually stopped adding up. Qerim had to make the difficult choice to forego guaranteed funds and the stability of a significant network contract, since the parameters did not align. Then came a line that showed everything and nothing at the same time. Have I got a thought? I do, of course. Will I give you access to it? No, as that is her story to tell once more. It was clear to anyone who read between the lines that the non-disclosure was planned. Smith was aware of information he kept private. He was privy to the reasons behind Qerim's departure, the issues that arose during those contract discussions, and the disappointments and frustrations that resulted in her sudden departure. However, he was also being cautious to preserve the privacy of his now former co-host, while admitting that there was, in fact, a far larger narrative hiding behind the surface of well-crafted Instagram posts and corporate press releases. Fans who had followed the Smith-Kim relationship through 10 years of daily television quickly shared their thoughts, conjectures, and hot takes on social media. As viewers analyzed every word of Smith's homage, every pause in his delivery, and every glimmer of emotion that broke through his usually composed on-air persona, the hashtag First Take became viral on several platforms. Some fans showed sincere grief over the passing of a host they had come to adore. Someone who, without her firm regulating hand, could have easily turned into a yelling match, but instead added professionalism and grace. Others instantly raced to conspiracy theories concerning wage disparities, contract conflicts, behind-the-scenes drama, and the power dynamics between Qerim's allegedly much lesser compensation package and Smith's enormous contract.
Molly is a friend. Molly is a co-worker. Molly is somebody that I have leaned on many occasions in the past, as she has done when it comes to me.
Even though the story was only getting started, it has already drawn the interest of the sports media in a manner that is uncommon for personnel changes. What actually transpired behind the scenes? We must go back in time and analyze the complex dynamics of a professional relationship that lasted a whole decade, produced thousands of hours of captivating television, and finally broke down under pressures that had been building for much longer than most viewers ever realized, if we are to fully comprehend the seismic shift that Molly Callum's departure represents. First Take was going through a transition until Qerim started as its permanent host on September 15, 2015. After Cari Champion left, she assumed the position. assigned to mediate arguments between Skip Biss and Stephen A. Smith, who already had a good rapport. From the beginning, the position was difficult. How do you join a dynamic that has already developed its audience, set its rhythm, and secured its position in ESPN's programming hierarchy? Qerim, however, did more than just take a seat. She made the whole production better. Her background in journalism, developed during the years of covering college and NFL games for the network since coming in 2006, provided a legitimacy and professionalism that wonderfully counterbalanced Smith's blustery demeanor. Qerim contributed structure, fact-checking, and the kind of calm presence that prevented the show from devolving into total anarchy during very contentious disputes, while Smith contributed fire, emotion, and those iconic tirades that became viral videos. The true test was in 2016, when Smith was the show's uncontested star and Qerim was the calm in the middle of the storm when Skip Bayless left for FS1's Uncontested. Smith's personality might have overpowered the entire presentation if bias hadn't provided a counterbalance. However, Qerim demonstrated her importance during this change by overseeing guest debaters and rotating analysts while preserving the show's focus and vigor.